We were both in our late teens and early 20s when we each experienced sexual assault, though it wasn't until our mid-20s, after having met one another, that we slowly shared and uncovered our own and each other's stories.
Now we realize that until that conversation, neither of us had really named our experiences as sexual assault or rape.
We had only ever viewed those experiences as shameful pieces of our past, generally full of guilt, denial, and self-blame. We're learning more and more every day about the immensity of this global epidemic of sexual assault.
Nearly 1 billion people in the world have experienced some form of sexual assault in their lifetime.
In each other, we found an ally, someone to relate and reflect with about an experience that had previously felt isolating and somewhat incomprehensible.
With this connection, we felt empowered and relieved in a big way, and together we began down a path of activism and awareness raising around sexual assault and survivor empowerment.
We became sexual assault crisis line counselors and started to listen to the stories of other survivors of sexual assault in its many forms.
It was the first time I sort of realized how prevalent it was, how many different ways it can happen and how often it does happen. But at the same time, how similar so many of the stories are.
We began to learn about not only the immense prevalence of sexual assault and how so many of us have experienced it in some form, but also about the themes and the commonalities in how we all process the experience.
Most of the people we would speak with expressed such similar sentiments of uncertainty of whether what had happened to them was okay or not.
Many suggested that their experience was not such a big deal when compared with others.
Many believed that they had somehow brought it on themselves.
And many didn't know who they could talk to about it.
I feel like we clicked. We had a realization that this was something that was important to us to explore further. And so I'd say that was sort of the dawning of the journey of Powerful Voices.
We set out to create an empowering community space where people could share their stories and open up these conversations.
We want to bring it out into the open. Our hope is that people see these interviews and they connect with them and they share with somebody if they're ready to do so.
It's not something I've ever said publicly, but it's something happened to me when I was young. So yeah, it can happen to anybody at any time, at any age. That's the thing, isn't it?
It really is, it really is. And the idea that no matter who you are, if you specifically have experienced this or not, you undoubtedly know somebody who has. The statistics show it's, just massive numbers of people. And there's still so many people who don't believe it or don't see that that's what's really happening. And, it's just there's so many of us. The Journey of Powerful Voices is a series of short films, each one dedicated to an individual who approaches us, ready to share her or his story.
The films are devoted to illuminating stories of strength and productivity that can be realized along the path of healing after a sexual assault.
We are inviting women and men who have a story to share to connect with us. There are many ways to express your story. Through film, art, writing, dancing, or any way that makes you feel comfortable. We welcome everyone.